Today on The Riff, we hear from Austin Houp, a board member. I imagine the board is just like the Jedi Council. Okay, probably not accurate, but hey, don't ruin my imagination. Helpful, we hope today is. Thanks for listening.
Riff Raff. Oh, we are back with another episode, and today is special. Oh,
I don't think that's true.
No, it is.
Okay. Well,
yeah, you don't even know what I was going to say.
I have no idea.
I was going to talk about you. I was. We have got a, I would say guest, nay, board member. That's what I would say
true.
on the episode today. And one of my dear friends. I love Austin Houp. I love the whole Houp family.
Oh, you're equally loved with the Glenn family. Obviously, love you guys.
My goodness.
And who you guys are and how you guys represent Jesus.
Well,
so
I appreciate that. Austin has been on the board now 4 years.
Yeah.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. But he's been around North Point as long as I can remember. So it's a pleasure to have Austin on the board in this kind of a season. And I have talked a lot about the board here on the Riff. We talked a lot about the board in different videos and updates and all that kind of stuff. And it is kind of like this Wizard of Oz, like, is the board real? They are, yeah.
Yeah, we are. And we've met a lot, yeah, we're real.
But it's true. It's 6 North Pointers that are committed to this mission, that live this mission, are this mission. I mean, you guys couldn't be more thankful for you, couldn't be more thankful for the time that you've invested, not just in the 4 years that you've been on the board, not just the decades that you've been here at North Point, but especially these past few months. I mean, it has been a roller coaster of figuring out this, figuring that out, making sure this is right, making sure that's right. Like, there have been a lot of moving pieces that the board usually doesn't sign up for.
I actually asked Jeremy not to sign me up for that, if I'm going to be honest. So,
which I think was Jeremy's selling point. Like, hey, if you're on the board, I don't think I'm out. I mean, unless like Northwest would call.
Yeah, literally.
And then they called.
Times.
Yeah, they called.
Both times.
But again, I can't thank you enough. Can't thank the board enough for the process that you guys have walked through. So what we want to do today is we want to just kind of go behind the scenes. Okay. And there's no script. We just sat down, and that's the Riff.
And true, too.
John Martz has a huge problem with that. He just can't do it.
I know. He always had notes.
Always.
I noticed.
The last episode, no notebook.
Oh, well, look at him. That's growth. I love that. I love that.
But I want to walk through the decision. I want to walk through the process. I want to walk through the mission, how it's going to prevail, how it has prevailed, how it is prevailing. Yeah. And we continue to be a safe place for people to find and follow Jesus. Right. That has not changed. And I think with Drew, it will not. Yeah. Everything that I've seen from him, learned from him, I told him this, like, one of the most exciting things for me is to learn from him, like, selfishly, like what he's bringing to the table, I think is going to be something that North Point will absolutely thrive on. Yeah. I really do. So that's what we want to do today. Okay. I want to walk through your perspective on it. That's what I got. Okay. Austin, welcome to the Riff.
Hey, thanks. Excited. Fun to be here in the magical room with the magical lights. Not quite as incredible as the going away party, the big one, the big Riff that we did with Jeremy.
No, we used to be at the DC, our studio, and we didn't have heat.
Oh, yeah,
or air,
which is not a problem today.
So,
but here in a month, it'd be an issue.
I know. Well, welcome. Hey, I want to get your perspective. So tell me. Let's just start. I mean, if you haven't, we've done a video. We've had multiple conversations. The board unanimously voted Drew Williams in as the next lead pastor for North Point Church. Right. This past weekend was his first weekend with us. This coming weekend, he'll be live in Nixa, broadcasting from there. And then the DLT has remained. So myself, Jen, John Martz, all still here, all still part of this mission. Our roles kind of shift around and we play chess with each other of like, all right, what's John taking? What's Jen taking? What am I taking? What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? Keep us away from those. Like, so moving the DLT around in different spaces, just to really hopefully set Drew up to lead well. Yeah. And just to form a system to set Drew up in a space to where he can learn quickly, lead quickly, and cast vision quickly. Like, that's really our hope as a DLT is to make sure that we're taking care of that. And to let you know as well, like when we did say, hey, the DLT is going to stay in, one of the things I love that the board did, and then I'll let you talk. Okay.
Love
it's
it.
going to be
I'm
great.
all for it.
I can't wait to have you as a guest. was I really, really loved the fact that you took that org chart, you asked Drew, okay, what do you see here? Right. And it's not just like giving him, all right, this is what we're thinking. Like the board has been so collaborative, even in that, to where voices have been able to be heard. So again, can't thank you more than I have already, but I really am thankful for how you led, not only that you guys led. Okay, so now shut up, and I'll ask the questions.
Fine, then if we're going to do the praises, you talk about the what the board did or did not do. The mission did not continue the way it does right now to this moment. If it's not the DLT, the way that you, Jen, and John just carried that mission, took on additional roles, not only through the search process, but literally carrying the day-to-day of being able to impact people for Jesus here in Springfield, Nixa, Dream Center, Republic. That doesn't happen without your guys' leadership. Your phenomenal organizational skills were unmatched. Every HR hiring I've ever been a part of, none has been as thorough as this, to where as a board member, being able to see all the 30 plus applicants, all the way through to the final two, and how we carry that process, and then working with Jen and her ability within her professional life of the hiring process. Someone who works in a school district that we hire people, like I learned stuff through the process. And obviously I was able to bring like what we do as schools, but what you guys were able to do through that and through the day-to-day operations, the weekend services, where we see the most people, obviously, and where people still felt Jesus, still felt safe, still felt like they could have a next step. That only happens because of the DLT, and obviously Drew being able to walk in and provide some, his organizational experience, his business leadership, that he's going to be able to apply with the depth of his, relationship with Jesus. Having seen it from being a PK all the way through to the various different roles he's served. One of the things that, there's a couple things obviously that he had said, but one of the big things that he talked about, whenever I was graduating from college, I was a part of a ministry called Campus Crusade for Christ, which sounds really bad, so that's why they changed the name to Crew. Thank you, Bill Bright, for that. When I was graduating, the leader at the time, Dan Allen, took me aside at Turkey Hill and was like, hey, I think God's calling you to be a part of Crew. Which obviously super flattering, and I loved it. And I'd always kind of wondered, because I'd served as leader of Crew, led the worship team there, and then a church there in Fulton. And I was like, man, that's awesome. Like I could see that, totally could. But I want to be in schools where I can see kids on a reel. Because when you see people sometimes at a church, see them in a youth group, that's not the real them. You see the real them, and you can impact the real them in their day-to-day life. So one of the things that he talked about, and from his previous organizations, like his church was his work and treated it as such. Saw people in the goods and the bads, and to work them through to be the best version of themselves, and to let them know that Jesus loves them right where they are, which includes maybe the cubicle they're working at that day. And so like that was something as a shared vision for my life. Like that's how I've tried to live my life as well. I'm always on mission. I'm always a pastor or whatever you want to call it, but I serve as an assistant principal who's coached basketball, football, and seen people in their day-to-day lives. And that was something that he talked about, that North Point, we're not about, just raising up more pastors in terms of a church organization, but as in people who go to their works, who go to their schools, and impact people for Jesus and give them a safe, place to be able to see Jesus there as well.
Yeah. And that's something I want to hit on too, is just mission and what was kind of the focus of the board as you guys walk through that process. And thank you for the kind words about the DLT. I would also say, could not be more proud of Jen and what she brought, and could not be more proud of John and what he brought in the interim season, how he's handled just anything and everything that's come his way. I'm so proud of him 100%. And so thankful to have both of them on this team. And you talk about weekend services, the week secret, DLT doesn't really do that. So, and I've said this in a couple staff meetings, like the 50 plus staff that call North Point Church their workplace. Yeah. It's been a hard job. Like you put yourself into a Kid Point director position, you put yourself into a connection space, like any of of the people that find themselves on staff in this season and they're on the front lines are usually the first person to get asked questions and the last person to know information, which is so hard in this kind of a season. And I could not be more proud of this team. When you talk about carrying the mission out, I inspired. And I've gone through a season where I'm like, I don't think anything inspires me. I need counseling. This was an inspiring season, and it's because of the team, and it's just watching like people just step up and grow. So really proud of the team.
Yeah, and I mean, my wife and I, we serve quite a bit at Springfield, and then we'll serve some at Republic. And obviously, we get to see it. We've got kids, a sixth grader and a fourth grader, so we're able to see those types of things. And the way that they carried Jesus where they were, you would have no idea, that we've been in this transitional time period. When you're on that weekend, and I think of like this past weekend, and Jordan, the way he was leading there on the worship team at Springfield, like you would have no idea. You would have thought that we were just business as usual, just our lead pastor was gone that day or whatever, and so from the connections and everybody in between, I mean, as a board member, I can't thank you enough, for what you did to carry out this mission as well. And again, that's why we see people keep coming back and wanting life change to Jesus, whether it's through us or through another church. Let's just be honest. The point is we want to connect people to Jesus, and we hope that we get to be that for them. Yeah, and something fun I thought too within the season, like you're talking about the team, you're talking about them just carrying on day to day. It wasn't like put on a happy face. Like this is a testament to Jeremy and Leanne too, of they've built something and created a culture that was not built around the Johnson family. And it wasn't an egocentric, like mega church, like they're the real deal. And I think that we got an opportunity to really figure out like, oh, it really is like Jesus. Like it really, like that's what we're like really here after. And for us, I couldn't thank them enough. Like incredible leadership that we've had for the past decade plus, and excited for the leadership that is to come. So I want to walk through what was kind of the guiding light for the board when you guys were walking through. Because like you said, you got to see really, I mean, we presented 2 candidates, but the board got to see every one of them. We recorded every single interview. We had a project management system that was completely open and transparent to the board as a whole. So at any point, the board could step in and say, oh, nope, I want to know more here. What are we doing here? We really wanted it to be a team. And I just want to know what was it? What was it in those rooms that you guys were in that you're like, man, this is our guiding light of how we're making decisions, how we're having conversations. What was that? So is this Hamilton in the room where it happened conversation? Okay, love it. I just want to be in the room where it happened. That's so true. Well, I mean, let's backtrack for a second. So, when Jeremy mentioned back, I think it was in March, he's like, hey, so I applied for this thing. I don't know if it's going to happen. So let's kind of spitball what this next season looks like, right? And we're like, oh Lord, please don't let this be the thing. So the conversation started way back then, right? With the board, with Jeremy, what does this look like? And we met several times, especially as as he kept inching closer to being the guy. So we get to July and we find out officially, hey, he's going to be the guy. Well, by then we had already kind of talked about, okay, well, hey, let's have a search team. And this is the board with DLT, with Jeremy, of like, hey, let's have the search committee that has the DLT. It's got people who've served on the board before, like Shannon McMurtry, who served and helped actually select Jeremy originally. Jake Smith, who served in mega churches and consultant, is a good friend of Jeremy's and understands the vision of North Point. And then, Steph Pilates is from our board. So even the construction of that happened. And then we started talking about what does that process look like. But before all of that, because you have to have systems, it was, what does it mean to be the North Point lead pastor? What makes it? And so we started processing, we were throwing out words on the wall, and seeing what sticks. And that kind of helped shift our view on what would a next lead pastor look like. And that's where the congregational survey came in. Correct, too. 100%. And the number one thing that came back was, which dynamic speaking was on there. And or is humble. 100%. Humble was the number one thing that came back by far. Yes.
Like that was the number one thing.
Well, and you go with that. Like, so when I originally was getting on the board, and John Alexander, who was on the board at the time, a really good friend who's had a major impact here at North Point, especially at Republic now, who ran sound this past weekend in Springfield. But he talked. I remember him saying, "Jeremy, who you see on stage is who you see in the real." Like, no, you can't be. I mean, because there's just a persona. You know, I'm a teacher. I know that when you stand up in front of a classroom, right? Like, there's a persona, right? And then I met him and have gotten to know him even better over the last 4 years. And it's 100% like who you saw is who he was.
Yeah.
The good and the bad, right? Which primarily good.
Well, his blouses were bad.
They were. I can't do it.
Blouses were not great.
I didn't have his style, and I don't have his style.
No,
but,
I wouldn't even say you pulled it off.
No.
I don't even think you did it.
I did go with the black to kind of look like you because you always wear black.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
you're welcome.
right.
But anyway, so like when we talk about humble, like you could see why that would be so important because everybody that got to know Jeremy, you know, North Point from its inception has always had dynamic speakers.
Yeah.
Right. And Jeremy pushed that to another envelope.
For sure.
And so like from that, you could see, well, how obviously that's who North Point is. It's a safe place to find and follow Jesus through a dynamic speaker. You could see how that could possibly be the model. And we're like, but really when you talk to the people, like what they cared about, what we cared about was is the mission, constantly talked about that safe place for people to find and follow Jesus, and that it's real and authentic. You can be happy, slappy, smiley. You know, we talk about like with the worship band, like, hey, you know, love Jesus through your music. Don't fake it, but if you've got it, show it. Type situation, right? And so, like, and I appreciate that I don't have to slap a smile on my face because I'm afraid I'm going to screw up if I do anything but look at my guitar. If I'm just going to be honest with you, I'll lean forward and back a little bit. That's about all I'm doing. But anyway, so like from that, where so we had that, and that's when we talked about, you know, we'd love to know the congregation. What are their words that matter the most to them? You know, here's some of the ones that we thought of. We did the same thing with the staff.
Yeah.
Staff, what are the key things? So like as we start looking through applications, or the search committee starts looking through these applications, that's the barometer that they're going to use. And then knowing, again, that we want it to be a safe place to find and follow Jesus, that can be able to handle organizationally, at one church with multiple locations. And so like those were some of the things that we did that we gave to the search team. And then we wanted to make sure that we as a board also were united on what we were looking for. Yes. And when the search committee looked at it, and you as a member of the search board, you'd be able to attest to that. It did help guide through the 30 plus applicants that you guys got, you know? And so that was a big one on that part of it. And then as you guys worked through it, and it was awesome. One of the things, you know, that North Point uses Basecamp. So what was cool is that under each candidate, when you guys would interview them or whatever, like you could see the search committee members' comments, the vibe, the feel, you know, those types of things. And so it was true, like whenever I got to carry out some of the reference checks, I felt bad because some people just put like bullets, but I put like a novel. You know, here's the vibe here when I felt, you know, whatever those types of things, for good or for bad, like that was my MO as part of it. But again, so then even the search committee, they could go back and say, well, that's not what I saw when I interviewed the first time, good or bad. And so from a systems thing, like it was phenomenal. I've never had this much information available, the ability to ask the right questions. And that's where, again, like, especially you and Jen, the ability just to, what was it like when you were with them? Because you guys were able to be a part of the staff meetings and the volunteer meetings, you know. So again, because sometimes you can see words, just like, you know, social media, you can see words, but without the context of a human around that, you don't know what that means. And so as a board, that was super helpful to us in the process.
That's great. We also had a process too that I mean, looking back, it was really tough for the candidates, but I think it was so helpful for the staff. I want to get your perspective from a board too. Is we put the candidates, when it got down to the last two, through a 9.5 hour interview nonstop. So start to finish, they ate lunch during the like it was nonstop. And we put them in front of every single team that is North Point staff. So every campus, Dream Center, Central, and then we ended the day with a group of volunteers that represented every single campus. And then within that, we created a rubric system to where everybody in the room could then anonymously score that candidate on certain elements. Some of those elements taken from the survey that was the congregational survey, some of them taken from what the staff had said was going to be important to them, and then left it open for a comment section.
Yeah.
It was unreal, the amount of feedback that we got.
Yeah.
And the helpful feedback that we got from the team itself in those 2 days alone.
Yeah.
And then we were able to score them objectively as well. So you've got this subjective reading and an objective reading. Tell me, what was it like to read the team's perspectives? How was that helpful? What did you see in that?
Yeah, so it's phenomenal. And one of the 5 H's of North Point is hustle, right? So that however many hours that was, that's hustle, right? So can you hit it? And obviously they did. So it was awesome. Again, when you talk about the, I'm not a reader, but I love context. Like my wife will be like, hey, I talked to so-and-so. And I was like, cool. How did they respond when you said? And she's like, I don't know. I didn't really pay attention because I moved on or whatever. Like, because to me, that part matters. And why I say that is because like what was cool is if you just had a score, like I wouldn't know the context behind that. So like the written parts, because some of them again were novels. Some of them were short and succinct, but again, it gave context to the numbers that ended up being attached to it, right? And so to be able to see all of that, and I'll tell you, like I can't imagine having been one of those 2 candidates and then getting that feedback.
Yeah, we sent it to the candidates.
Yeah, when you talk about like feedback loop, like super powerful.
Yeah.
You don't know what to fix if you don't know, right? You don't want to be the emperor with no clothes on.
You've always said that. You've always said that. You have, man.
But from that part of it, like that's what was so great is like not only for us, I wanted also the candidates to see that.
Yeah.
So when we had a follow-up conversation, we can ask the candidates, how does this hit you? Right? Good, bad, the ugly.
Right.
What does that tell you? And again, I think there's a lot of value in people's responses. And so I thought it was a great system. The feedback when I talked to some of the staff members, at various different points, they all said the same thing. They said it was grueling.
Yeah.
But they were like, man, I learned a lot more about them than I thought I would. So for them, that's super valuable as well. Because part of the purpose is this somebody you can work for and with?
Yes. And even in that, like the system that the team put together, like I was inspired by just the moments that they had with them. We gave each team an hour, and then the only ask was that they have the exact same questions and the exact same people in the room to give a fair showing of what that is. And their questions were so thoughtful. Yeah. And some of them I'm like, oh my word, I'm so glad I'm not answering these.
And a little bit of you like, I actually want to know the answer to that one.
What do you think of that one? What are you going to say? So I again, like the team just showed up. Like it day in and day out. It was incredible to watch, honestly. Yeah. It was great.
And when we did our own interviews, like the first set of interviews, and then we did some second bit. When we did those first set of interviews, like we did the same thing. Like we had specific set of questions so that each candidate got the same. Follow-ups would be different a little bit because that's the nature of you responded this way. I'd like a follow-up here.
Yep.
And whenever we put those questions together, sometimes I was like, I'm nervous how you're going to respond. Just got to be honest with you. And when the candidates would be like, oh, but what about you guys? And like, because, we haven't necessarily discussed them all as a board. Right. And I loved that honest feedback as well, that happened. So, again, props to both of them because they handled them like champs.
Yeah.
Felt like we learned a lot about both of them.
You kind of touched on this a little bit, but I do want to get into this. And one of the things that Drew has said as he's come onto the team, which I'm just like, I just want to tattoo that somewhere, maybe on my neck probably.
Just put it on your arm, add it to the sleeve.
Just add it. Was he's like, hey, as we walk through this, as we release the video, as we talk about it, I really want this to be an offense for the mission and not a defense for the decision. Yeah. I'm like, good night. What in did you chat GPT that before you? Like, that's ridiculous. So I don't want this conversation to turn into exactly what Drew's not asking us to do as a defense for the decision, but is an offense for the mission. But in that, I believe the mission lives in Drew. I really do. From the 100%. Time that I've been able to spend with him, from what I've seen from him, from the references, from the people that I know that I trust, that know and trust him, I walk away saying North Point's mission is inside this guy. Like he gets it and he's going to move it forward. So what was it about Drew? What was it about Drew and his family that you're just like, man, this is going to be everything that we just talked about. This is going to be the yes for us.
Yeah. So one of my favorite lines that he said, in being in a leadership position, like I was like, stealing that, right? Tattoo. I don't have any tattoos. Probably won't get any, but if I were, this would be a good one. But when he said the line, I've exported more leaders than I've imported. Right. And I'm not talking about, again, like I said earlier, it's not like pastoral, like I've got more pastors under my, like it's just like for us, like when one of my favorite questions that we ask now in interviews, I stole it from LinkedIn, is where do you want to be in 5 years and how can we as an organization help you get there? We hope you choose to stay here after those 5 years. But if you don't, how can we leverage us to make you get there? Same would be with that. Like, how do we get people as leaders to love Jesus and to carry that out with their words and their actions, even when they make mistakes and they demonstrate how to do that. And that was one of the things where he talked about that I was like, yeah, 100%. We need to be able to export leaders, whether it be organizationally, but more importantly, within our communities. And that was one thing that he said that I was like, that's awesome. I love every bit of that. And the other thing is, like, he was not afraid to ask any question and to take any feedback. Like after one of his messages, and he's like, what'd you guys think about my talk? And I was like, I thought you fit way too much in there in that time period. And he goes, you know what, I can actually see, like just that vulnerability, which it comes back to that humble. Like he is not ashamed to be able to find what his faults are as part of that feedback loop.
Yeah, Jen and I got to sit down with him. We went through the process, long process, and then we sat down with him at Big Whiskey's. It's going to be an hour conversation probably. We stayed there for 3.5. And it's that exact thing. The questions that he asked, right? And I think that's just so important. We've talked about it on the Riff. I think Jen has said that too. And John has too on the Riff. Like the questions that you ask define what your life is, 100%. Right? Like that's, and it was genuine, right? Yeah. And I left that night. I went home, went upstairs and sat down on the bed, and Jamie was like, how'd it go? I just sat there and I literally was silent for 5 or 10 seconds. And then I just said, he'll be the next lead pastor. Like there was something in that conversation and the way that he approached it. And again, this is not a defense for the decision.
No.
And I'm saying all of these things because I believe the mission lives in him.
Yeah.
And I'm confident that the mission's going to survive, not only survive, but thrive.
100%.
And I'm excited for it. I really am.
Yeah.
Will things look a little different? Sure.
Yeah.
I haven't seen one blouse that he owns. And I think Jeremy sold all of them, right? So I don't even, I
haven't seen him on Insta, so he may not be wearing them anymore. So
as a president,
can't do that. Got to be like professional.
But things will look different. That's just organizational change, and it's going to be healthy.
Well,
right?
And Jeremy did too. Let's go back to back before. I would spend more time prepping for the special song that had partial to no significance to the message. Right. And then we would have a 45-minute practice. 30 minutes of it was working on the special, 15 on the actual worship songs that are supposed to lead people to the throne of Jesus.
They sounded so good.
They did, right? I've never heard the church sing more than Living on a Prayer with John Bon Jovi, right? That weekend that we did that. So I say that, that was one of the things that Jeremy's like, is this really moving the needle for Jesus?
Right.
And it wasn't. So we changed it.
Yeah. And what was beautiful was, even though we changed things and moved things around, right? The mission actually got stronger with Jeremy. It didn't change. No. It actually moved forward.
Right.
So again, it's the whole idea of preferences and principles, right? I don't care how we do it.
Right.
Okay. Why and what? Why? Why is that? Mission. So
100%.
Yeah, I like I said, not a defense of the decision. That's not what we're trying to do, or at least what I'm trying to say here.
Right.
I am just trying to say I couldn't be more excited about the mission moving forward.
100%.
Yeah. What is it as a board member that you're looking forward to?
In 2 years not being on the board, can I say that? Is it too early? I'm just kidding. No. What am I excited about?
I hope Drew changes that. It's just a lifetime commitment. It's just,
Drew, please don't. It's in the bylaws. I'm sure you can't change it. But as the board, I got to be honest. One of the things I am really excited about, I can't wait to see John carrying out that director of campus pastors, whatever that title exactly was, where he's going to be working with the campus pastors and being able to help them. Jen came on to kind of help with that a few years ago, but she's never been a pastor.
Yeah.
I mean, she's been a leader of people, and she taught them how to lead people, how to have crucial conversations. And so that was one of the things where I was super excited for him, is that he understands campus pastoring. Mm-hmm. He knows how to do that.
Yeah.
And so he is going to be able to support all those campuses, with that new position. And so, like I said, as a board, I'm excited. As his friend, I'm excited for him because, again, I think he's going to be able to flourish, and he's going to be able to help carry out the vision of North Point. I've been at Ash Grove now for quite a while, graduated from Ash Grove, and sometimes people come up and be like, hey, why don't you do this? Well, there's a history behind that. I have a historical context of why decisions have been made. You as a DLT, with John included, you have a history. You know what things have been done and not been done and why. Doesn't mean we can't do them now.
Right.
But there's a reason behind what we do, and it gives context for what we're going to do next. Mm-hmm. And again, so I think there's a ton of value as a board. I'm thankful for that you guys are going to be able to provide that context, for whatever decisions get made next, to be able to carry out that vision of being a safe place.
That's great. That's executive pastor of campuses and teaching pastor.
Yes.
That's what John is rolling into.
Yes.
Within the DLT.
Yes.
We're all, yes. And that's right. I do believe Jen has made a massive impact, and honestly, just took us so much further.
Yeah.
As soon as she came on the team, and she's actually going to be moving over to the Dream Center side of things, communication side of things, and the big reason for that, as we kind of walked through and looked at it, is we've always talked about this bridge between North Point Dream Center, making sure that it's strong. Mm-hmm. And I mean, this is the Riff, so we'll just be honest. This is very candid. A lot of weight was put on Jody's shoulders.
100%.
And
she can handle it.
Carried it.
But it's unrealistic to expect somebody to carry that type of load.
And especially they're at a spot now. They're hitting financial milestones. They're hitting program milestones, engagement milestones that are going to take. They're going to have to take another step forward. Yeah. I mean, it's a big season for them to where they have seen some incredible things under Jody's leadership,
100%.
And they're going to see some really incredible things under Jody's leadership. It's so good.
And Jen is going to be able to find and provide all that support that Jody needs.
Yeah. So the thought is for Jen to move over there is to really care for Jody, for the team, to make sure that we as a DLT are saying we invest and we believe in the Dream Center just as much as we do any of the 100%. Campuses within North. It's the same thing.
Yes.
And that's the why. That's the why. We want to make sure that we're caring for our leaders that are on those front lines. And Jody, man, she's been on the front lines for years. Jody and I came into this organization the same year.
Wow. That was a really long time ago.
It was a really long time ago, 37 years ago. Yeah, that was, and just to see her growth, to see her leadership, couldn't be more proud of her. And I'm really excited for Jen to be with her, to be on that team, and to just provide care, consistency, just anything that the DLT has been able to do campus-wise and all that. I'm man, I'm just so excited to say, no, it's all of us. Dream Center, North Point, it's one, right? So,
and with that, so you talk about Jody, sometimes we hold up our leaders, Jody being an example of someone who can carry all the weight all the time, right? She's a beacon of somebody who you want to emulate. My wife connected me with one of her horse riding friends who has this vision for carrying out the mission of Jesus through a specific organization. And I sit there and I'm listening to her and I go, you're a young Jody. I can see.
And Jody's young.
Right.
This is younger Jody.
This is even a younger Jody. This is a teenager Jody, right? As we're at this hockey game and she's quizzing me on all this, which is awesome. I'm glad that I was able to do that, right? My wife didn't tell me ahead of time that she was going to come quiz me about all this. But anyway, so I'm talking to her, I'm like, you're a young Jody. Right. And so we see the Jody that is now, and we're like, she's going to be able to carry that forever. But that's not human nature. Right. And that's what I love about the investment of Jen with her, is to be able to say, we see you and we want to be able to build you up and provide the support you need. And so like, that's, I'm excited about that.
Yeah. I'm excited for the DC. I'm excited for Jody. I'm excited for Jen. I'm excited for John as well.
Yeah.
I'm excited for Drew. A lot of excitement here. A lot of excitement.
It's good things. I mean,
I'm
a
excited.
lot of good things. So.
Anything else, man? Anything else that's on your heart or that you thought about when we set this whole meeting up for the Riff? Like anything else that you've got as you've got all. I don't know how many people are listening. Like I said, I think my mom listens.
We average on YouTube. I looked at it before I came here.
10,
70?
9, 7? It was 70.
Yeah, I would say average. Some as high as 400.
400.
Some as low as 50. So we're probably going to lower here.
So my mom's listening.
Yeah, that's on YouTube. I don't know about the podcast itself.
I would guess the podcast millions.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the biggest podcast in Southwest Missouri, I believe. I mean,
named the Riff.
Yeah, I don't have quantitative data to support that. I guess the only things that like I would have is I don't know how else to say it other than just straight words is as a board member, as a North Point person who's been in this mission now for at least since 2009, I can't thank the staff and the volunteers enough for being so married to the mission that through all of this, we are placing ourselves for exponential growth. And I'm not talking about as a church organization. I'm talking about on a mission for impacting people for Jesus.
Yeah.
And again, whether that's here or at another church, like we want people connected to Jesus. And so I am thankful for what the staff have done through what could have been very difficult at various different times. And again, especially to the DLT, because you guys had to carry a weight that many didn't know about because they couldn't know about. It's just part of a hiring process. That's how it works. But as someone who's on the board and who got all the information that we ever needed anytime, could ask the number of times I would just call you at 9:30 at night and be like, hey man, walk me through whatever, right? Or talking to Jen. I did the same thing with her a couple times. Like just being able to pick your guys' brains. And the great questions you guys asked, and I couldn't be more thankful for how you guys have carried out the mission. So, outside of that, I'm surprised you haven't asked me about any of my 80s hair bands growing up. I figured that was going to come up.
Oh, man.
That's a missed opportunity.
It is a missed opportunity. Now we're at minute 36.
It's too late now.
Man.
But true story. I had a student today who had on a Bon Jovi shirt, and I was like, this kid's worn multiple 80s hair bands, and he's a newer student to our district. And so I walked up to him today, and I showed him a picture of me and Bon Jovi. I said, do you know who this is? That's Bon Jovi. And I said, that's me. He goes, no, it's not. This is AI. No, this is 100% legit. So I started scrolling through my Google Photos with him, and he was like naming all the bands. And I was like, I knew you were my kind of kid right there.
Which is good. It means he's just not wearing the shirt.
Yeah.
I'm worried with the youth. You know?
Because sometimes they just wear it.
No.
Anytime a student has like Def Leppard, the girls love the Def Leppard shirts. And I always ask them, say, name a song for me. They're like, I don't know. It's awesome.
I love it. Austin, man, I love you, and so appreciative of you, appreciative of your family, and very appreciative of the board. Couldn't thank you enough.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you being on here. I appreciate you just being open and transparent. We'll put his phone number in the show notes, so if you got any questions, just go. No, but thank you so much, and I am excited for this mission to prevail, and let's keep creating a safe place for people to find and follow Jesus.
Awesome. Thank you, Justin.
You bet.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Riff. We'll have a brand new episode every week, wherever you find podcasts.